Hello, thank you, and welcome to today's first and last episode of Stranding. With E3 here and all the great news from Stranding and beyond, wanted to post up this last video. We're just watching the intro to the mascot for Kojima Productions, and when that first image came out, which was just the logo at the time, I created a theory about the world's global warming issues making that mascot have to travel and go into other places to try to help humanity survive. And it was a really cool theory, but literally all we had was one image. And now we're going to watch these trailers as I break down the core essence of what I believe it's going to be in Death Stranding. Now, just to make it clear, all of this is just fun theory, and it's going to be my last set. As you know, I've talked about that mascot, and I said it is a part of the game, and they will be exploring different places in different ways. We'll get into that a little more later, but let's dive right into it. First and foremost, what I've always talked about was how global warming is going to be a big factor in this game, the dynamics of our world changing, evolving, and the evolution of mankind is going to be what this story is about. And then I talked about each of these characters and what they offer and how they are going to play a big role. But I did not talk about the baby. And the only thing I did say that there's more of a psychological aspect to this baby than people know. And first and foremost, Death Stranding isn't that complicated. It's going to be a third-person shooter, in my guess. Open world, a.k.a. open environment. It's going to offer a bunch of action, but it is going to be heavy duty in some very, very artistic values. First and foremost, as you see here, Norman Reedus naked, waking up with the baby. What is going on? Then there's these entities, all of this cool stuff, right? Well, in simple form, guys, you're talking about a superhero video game. Nothing more, nothing less. Superheroes. Norman Reedus, Mads, and everyone beyond in this story, whether you're a villain, hero, it is going to be very interesting. There's going to be these elements of superhero activity and definitely some normal humans trying to survive the waves of this. That's my guess. That being said, why and how does this baby play a role? Again, the focus is on the psychological aspect. I believe this baby to be possibly the most powerful mutant or superhero, super villain, a little bit of everything, because with Kojima, war isn't good, so his games always symbolize anti-war in different forms with deeper messages. That being said, the baby's reason why it has so much superpowers is that it lives in a what we call psychic power world where it can form reality and basically warp time, space, materialize humans themselves, materialize whole worlds, galaxies, possibly. And the power that it has, no one fully knows because they're trapped inside this baby's mental creation. Now, is this real or is this a dream? With the face of our guy Del Toro there, I don't know. This is where the fun of the game and what's real and what's not, and what is going to be very important to this game is the social aspect. Now, how does the social aspect work? Well, if you remember AR games, alternate reality games, basically people have to work together in real life to figure out what's happening in the game. So there'll be hints to something in Japanese, then there'll be hints to something in German, then there'll be hints to something in American, something from Spain, and all of this will tie together. If we all do the research and we all figure it all out together, we can get through the clues of what's happening in this baby's super powerful mind as it goes forward. So we watch the trailers, we'll see this baby is important somehow, and these guys are protecting it, but they don't even know how powerful or important this baby is. Is the baby creating this world and these people to protect it? Is it a full-grown adult lost in the psychic world that it created, going back into its own form in the womb to protect itself from all the violence that is happening in the world? And these are the type of aspects that I think it's best for Kojima to explore. Don't get it wrong. I'm the biggest Kojima fan, and I am not here to criticize if this theory is wrong. I'm more than happy with it being wrong, because then that means he's a mastermind genius. But in my opinion, you want these superhero formats for these characters and build up a whole new regime of superheroes for movies, for video games, anime, and you name it. It'll be an amazing aspect if you take what I'm saying, where the baby's powers, psychic powers, can generate worlds, can generate enemies and friends, and it's all a part of its own interactions with people. As it grew up and became an adult, it fell back into this baby state, but with the psychic powers of the adults mature. For example, this can be his brother. Let's say I'm the baby, the player's the baby, and this is my brother who's always better than me at everything, plays basketball better and does everything better, and he's just too good, and he's always coming after me. And as you can see here, he has his connections. These are all strands, Death Stranding, and I flew into this state of mind where all of my psychic abilities, all of my strengths brought me to be a baby, to protect myself. And I have the whole world I created in my mind, or in reality, I brought to the real world. And there's definitely mutants who had these type of powers. I'm not going to name them because we want to keep this video about Death Stranding. But see, these are the aspects that I personally really adore, to be something that I think can open up a video game series for the future. And just having that small psychological aspect of what's real and what's not. Then the fans having to figure out the mystery of the game and solve the riddle within it. Kojima can add that social aspect, which is called alternate reality game. So if you look that up, you'll find games that have this aspect that can make a big difference in gaming. It'll be very useful for big games like this to have such a new mark with something that's been around for a long time, but only small games ever reach that. That being said, this last trailer, we're going to get into some of the last trailer. I've been talking just in general to open up your minds about this new superhero, super mutant, or whatever. But let's get grounded here. We're looking at Norman Reedus waking up again. Is he waking up from the Death Stranding? And is this real, or is this a part of the psychic powers of the baby, which might be Norman Reedus, which might be the player? which is us. That is the question here, and that is where we have to explore and figure it all out in the beginning of the game. You're not going to get these answers at all. I'm throwing a theory about the end game and how it all revolves around this baby protecting itself. And that's why you see it always in a wound, whether it's Norman Reedus's belly or the small portable device that holds the baby. And all of these things play a huge part in how to move forward. But you have to look at this game, like I said, in my opinion, through the psychological views, the psychic powers that are just fun to explore. As a creator, you have someone with this ability, and you can change the world, you can change reality, warp time, space, create alternate realities, and do so many different things on top of what's already in the storyline, just to have an amazing visuals, amazing story plot twists and turns. And then you have the aspect that really changes the game. And that's where, for me, hopefully when you're following this, you're like, okay, this dude is reaching. And I agree. Now, the point of that is to not limit this to a simple video game. The enemies, Norman Reedus is going to kill them, and this is what's going on. Because in the end of the day, I've seen Kojima's work, and he simplifies stuff. Like right now, it looks very complicated, but it's really not that complicated. Once you get into the story, I'm pretty sure this is going to be all basic things. For example, there's an entity. It takes over bodies and people, and right now it's going to attack these guys. And these are all, look at that entity in the sky. What is that? Oh my God, it's coming for them. It's trying to take them. These are simple formats, and I don't think it's fun as a viewer, as a player, to have simple story. To add this layer of the baby having the superpowers to be able to generate realities, generate people, generate materials, warp time and space, interstellar travel, and all these great things that can make an awesome video game that I don't remember ever seeing something like that. So while this is all theory, I think it's a beautiful concept that can be used, even if not for this game, and maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out with the gameplay footage, with the release date coming out. All that stuff's going to be on my description once announced. But yes, so that's what the deal is, and that's where we're at right now. Once again, I'm going to cap off by explaining myself. We see what the baby has and the baby can do. He's a big part of the story. I broke down a lot of this. I broke down every part of this game in different ways. So today is the ultimate farthest reality that I would prefer myself. This is all about my preference and what I think would be really cool. This doesn't take away from Norman Reedus's character and the storyline. It just adds an extra layer of the baby having these powers and the baby actually being an adult, warping time and space, entering its womb to protect itself from Death Stranding. And that's where it gets really technically a masterpiece of art if Kojima took his time and did things like this to present it to us in ways that are like, wow, this is such a special show. And, talking about the big bangs in the game that they talk about in this trailer specifically, there's so many, when I say so many aspects that talk about the Big Bang Theory, how the world was created, how the world was this and that. First it was that, and then it brought light, and then now you see here, this is another bang where the baby's about to get sent into this Death Stranding state of mind. But also, we don't just get the Death Stranding state of mind, we get to see the actual gameplay, which showcases us right in this, I wouldn't want to say water, but it's definitely water. Or is it? What is this state of Death Stranding that we're in here? That is the question, right? And then how does that affect everything? Well, with the baby, you're talking about it protecting itself, having its psychic powers, and it's helping protect you. because of that. And those are the aspects that I think can make it great if it's a psychological game, more so than it is all reality based. So what is real, what is not, we have to figure that out as players. At the end of the day, we were the baby who is Norman Reedus, who is the player, aka us, and it turns into an awesome loop, providing us with a great closure ending to, wow, we created the world that we know today by being a child playing this mental game that we live in our society. We went from Homo sapiens to Homo ludens to Homo superior, aka this kid with these psychic powers and abilities to create and generate reality.